Shabbat Shalom. We welcome you once again to the Lehrman Chapel here at Temple Oheb Sholem in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I am joined by Christopher Prestia, our pianist and organist and all-round good guy, and we are here to do our Shabbat video. So let's begin by taking a cleansing breath. Let go of all of the aggravation of the past week. Perfect. And let's begin with a song. Let's begin with Matovu. If you have your prayer book, it's on page 290. Shabbat candles. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world that God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Baruch Hu is on page 146. Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhma poteach she'arim uvitfuna mishane itim umachalif et hazmanim umesader et ha'kochavim v'mishmarotehem barakia kirtsono borei yom v'layla goler or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla Umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzevaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Let's join together on page 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. The Shema is on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta, page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meyodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am Beshiftecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotefot beineinecha uktabtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Michamocha, page 158. Page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God, and bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth, prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeis sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru, page 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam b'rit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam b'rit olam. Let's continue now on page 166 with Tefillah. Adonai sefatai titnahu fi tehillatcha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei HaKol, v'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. And let's continue together at the top of page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt. in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers, and there may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We continue with Shalom Rav on page 178. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atah hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atah hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol lev ubechol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We pause now for a moment of silent reflection. Shabbat Shalom. We are often excited if we can light the menorah for Hanukkah the same time as Christmas. Next year, we will be lighting the menorah on Thanksgiving weekend. But this year, Christmas Day is ending just as we are beginning to observe Shabbat. To those of us here at Ohev Sholem, many of our members enjoyed some kind of familial or virtual Christmas celebration. We are proud of the fact that we welcome all kinds of families. Not every congregation agrees. I was reading the foreword this week and found an article that said that 7 years ago, the Pew Research Center issued their report that 72% of non-Orthodox Jews were intermarrying. It literally rocked the Jewish world. The report did not explain why interfaith families are relatively less Jewishly engaged by traditional measures, but it did provide one clue. While 89% of intermarried Jews were proud to be Jewish, only 59% had a strong sense of belonging to the Jewish people. It is common sense that when people are made to feel like outsiders, they won't have a sense of belonging to a community. But now, as 2020 ends, that common sense is supported by some very concrete research. The latest local Jewish community survey conducted by the Cohen Center finds that in Baltimore, houses that include an intermarried couple tend to feel that the community is not welcoming to them, doesn't care about them, and doesn't support them. And in Toronto, the same center found that while most interfaith couples wanted to have a place in the Jewish community, they felt unwelcome when interfaith relationships were denigrated, when non-Jewish partners felt pressure to convert, or when they were expected to negate or even hide that partner's religious identity. These recent findings are consistent with an analysis of other Cohen Center research. When averaged, the study suggests that only 5% of interfaith couples feel a deep connection with their local community, as opposed to 28% of in-married couples. I think it's striking that these studies, conducted in a variety of Jewish communities across North America, consistently find that interfaith couples can feel like outcasts, outsiders, and undesirable. In 2014, many Jewish communities and their rabbis spoke that these relationships were something to be prevented, and partners from different faith backgrounds could be included only if they converted. And now, 7 years later, these messages are resurfacing. A rallying cry is being heard that it's time for the Jewish community to make a big push for Jews marrying Jews. Even Birthright, the organization that offers a free 10-day trip to Israel for Jews in their late teens and 20s, focuses their success on Jews meeting other Jews, with the hopes of lessening the intermarriage rate, rather than focusing on creating a love for Israel. The Jewish communal leaders who are promoting in marriage, the marriage of one Jew to another, may be creating a problem when it paints interfaith marriage as the inferior option. Prioritizing endogamy leaves non-Jewish partners feeling unwanted, and Jewish partners feeling like their marriage is a failure. One bright light during this difficult year is the nearly universal positive response to the interfaith relationship of future second gentleman Doug Emhoff and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. One rabbi is quoted as saying, "Maybe now the Jewish community will be able to see such families as normal, sacred, and essential." Another rabbi reminds us that we can't kvel over Kamala Harris's Jewish husband and at the same time continue to demonize intermarriage. I think many of us agree that Kamala Harris is not an inferior option as a marriage partner, and neither is any partner who comes from a different background. It's long past time for the Jewish community to recognize this and to act like it. So how do we proceed? What makes a marriage work well, even when we all know that being married takes a lot of work? I think the answer is to be lucky enough to find a partner who is compatible with you on as many levels as possible, and to realize that religion is just one of the many components of marriage that can be a deal breaker before the walk down the aisle, just like any other component. And today, even the institution of marriage itself can be the deal breaker to otherwise compatible couples. Here's what I've learned. I don't believe in percentages. I believe in community. I don't believe in closing doors. I believe in opening them. I don't believe that Christmas should be negated in interfaith families. I believe in inclusion. But most of all, I believe that every Jewish family should find a way to be inclusive on their own terms. As we all see twinkling lights and trees in the homes of our friends, neighbors, relatives, and yes, even in the homes of our own congregants, we must remember that each family and each Jew has the right to feel their connection to God and community in their own way, just as long as we remember to strive to keep Judaism alive. Please wear your mask, please take good care, and let's keep everyone healthy and happy. Shabbat Shalom. And now if you would please turn to page 371, we will continue with Mishaberach. We ask God's blessings on those who are sick in our community. We ask God's blessings on those who are in the front lines of taking care of those in our community who are suffering from COVID-19. We ask God's blessings on the caregivers in our midst. We ask God's blessings on anyone whose anxiety is felt on the inside and yet not seen on the outside. So together we say, Baruch atah Adonai rofeh hacholim. We praise you, Adonai, our God, who heals the sick. And we say, Amen. We continue now with Aleinu on page 586. Aleinu l'shabeach Adonai kol ha'tekeru le'otzeh b'reshit shelo salu kegoyei ha'aratzot v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'goralenu kechol hamonam ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומורים לפני מלך מלכי haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Page 593. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. The Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 598. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad v'yivrach cheruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei b'chol Beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'yimaru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam umei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudsha b'richu. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimaru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all of us who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, and we say, Amen. Our closing hymn is Ein Kelohinu, and it's on page 626. Blessings on every one of us. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our mothers and fathers, grant us a Shabbat filled with joy and rest, and bless us with a week ahead filled with good health and with peace. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.